Okay, so now we begin one of the most important sections of calculus as far as integration goes. It's going to allow us to integrate a lot more functions. It's called integration by substitution. So first of all, why do we need this? You can differentiate anything because you have all the rules needed. You have the power rule, the product rule, the quotient rule, and the chain rule. And those take care of every single function. Integration, though, we only have one rule, and we're really only going to ever have one rule, and it's the power rule. So if you can't get a function to look like this, you're not going to be able to integrate it. So, but there's a lot of functions that don't look like that. So what are we going to do for those types of functions? Well, integration by substitution is one way to handle that. So before we go into that, let's just look at a few functions to see why this is so important. So we're going to look at some functions and kind of see if we can or cannot integrate them at this point. So if we look at this first function right here, you can only integrate it if it looks like this, or as a sum or difference of things that looks like that. This is a quotient, and there's nothing we can do about it, and there is no quotient rule, so we cannot integrate this. Next function, it's also a quotient, but this quotient we can actually split up, and then you can use properties of exponents. And now this is a function that we can definitely do. It's the sum of x to a power, or difference of x to a power, doesn't matter. And you just integrate separately. So this one we can do. The next function, well, it looks a little bit complicated. It's not x to a power, it's really 2x to a power. But if you remember, you can multiply square roots together, so you can also set it up like this. Square root of 2 is a constant, and x, the square root of x is x to the 1/2, and that's exactly this. So we can do this one. So that one we can do. A couple more here. This one. Now this is the key one. This is the one that we really want to take a look at. You can't split up a square root, so you, as we know, just remind you, you wouldn't be able to do this. So this is definitely not x to a power. So it's 2x plus 1 to a power. So this one, there's nothing we can really do to get it into the form that we can use a product or a power rule for. So we cannot do this one yet. After this section, we will be able to do this one and problems like it. Two more quickly. The cosine of 2x. Well, with trig, it's either we can do it or we can't. So we know we can integrate cosine of x. That becomes sine of x. But that's all we can do, cosine of x. If it's cosine of 2x, we're out of luck until we get through this section. So this one we cannot do right now. As opposed to this one we can do because this is just 2 is a constant. It's just 2 times the integral of cosine of x. And cosine of x, we already talked about. We can do that. So really what we're going to be doing in this upcoming section is trying to figure out a good way to do this and the other one. I'm making a mess here. This and this, and problems like this. And we're not going to learn any new rules. We're going to find out how to get them to look like this, and then we're going to do it. So hopefully you're not too confused over that. Next video will show you what we're going to do.